Hello, happy Friday. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. The Senate took a break from budget hearings on Friday, but still ended up with the funding issue. At the end of the day, the Senate Committee on Homeland Security, chaired by Senator Novelle Francis, had to hold in committee a bill that would provide hazard pay to some employees, mainly because of funding. News 2's April Knight has details.
Should firefighters get hazard duty pay? The answer seems to be a straightforward yes.
What I believe is a no-brainer legislation that has mind-bogglingly not been enacted in our local code.
But at a hearing on Friday at the Senate, it didn't seem that simple. Bill number 31-0364 seeks to give differential pay to firefighters in the Fire Services Suppression Unit. Fire officials also advocated the inclusion of firefighters from the arson, prevention, and investigation units, as well as supervisors who face similar hazards.
It is a misconception that by the time the fire investigators arrive at the scene, the potential hazards are eliminated or diminished to the point where such hazards are no longer a concern. Some investigators have been diagnosed with disabling and debilitating injuries and chronic illnesses such as various cancers that surface days, months, and years after investigations were concluded.
According to officials, there could be up to 250 personnel who can benefit from the extra pay. At 15%, the annual cost for the hazard pay for firefighters would be at least $1.3 million. Lawmakers pointed out the funding issue, as well as the need to give hazard pay to every government employee exposed to such conditions.
We can't leave out anyone. But I want you all to understand that I just can't see this move for one and not the other. And then again, we're talking about a cost.
Lawmakers and testifiers all agreed that firefighters deserve hazard pay, but it all comes back to funding. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
On Thursday, July 14th at around 10:36 p.m., turn our attention to crime reports. Officers were dispatched by 911 call center to investigate a report of a discharging of shots in Lorraine Village housing community in Estate Grove Place, where several apartments were damaged by gunshots. Here's more.
One of those residents stated that she was in her apartment, heard shots fired, and stayed down to the ground until it stopped. The complainant stated that she checked her apartment and observed bullet holes throughout her apartment. No one was injured. The Criminal Investigations Bureau processed the scene and gathered information. The VIPD is urging anyone with information about criminal activities to call the Criminal Investigations Bureau at 340-778-2211, 911, or the anonymous tip line at Crime Stoppers VI at 1-800-222-TIPS.
Also on Saturday, June 25th at approximately 11:03 p.m., several citizens called and reported shots fired in the area of First Stop gas station in Estate St. Thomas. Upon responding, officers' arrival, contact was made with an unresponsive African-American male. The male appeared to have been shot multiple times and he succumbed to his injuries. The male was later identified as 22-year-old Kasim Daniel. On Thursday, July 14th, Devon Grant was arrested pursuant to an arrest warrant issued by Superior Court of the VI. Grant was charged with accessory after the fact and misprision of a felony. He was booked and turned over to the Bureau of Corrections pending his advice of rights. Well, the family of Peter Rowe Marcus, who's now deceased, is asking for help in locating his remains. And if you can help, Marcus moved back to St. Thomas in 1995 after living in the States for a while. He is suspected to have been mentally ill and homeless. The family's private investigator is working with the VI Police Department. They learned that Marcus died on March 14, 2015, according to Schneider Hospital records. The Turnbull Funeral Home, who supposedly had the remains, according to the investigator, reports having no record of any funeral for Marcus or doing anything with his remains. The remains are simply missing. If you have any information in any way that can help with this investigation, please call 352-596-9567. Turn our attention overseas. Republicans from across the nation continue their pre-convention activities in Cleveland. One of them, meanwhile, has decided to withdraw a controversial challenge. We reported Thursday that Valerie Stiles was challenging John Yobb's eligibility as a delegate after the Supreme Court reversed a key decision by the lower court. But now Stiles is letting it go. NEWS2's April Knight has that story.
Valerie Stiles has dropped her appeal to the Republican National Convention's Credentials Committee in her bid to get John Yobb and two others removed as VI delegates. Her main argument was they were not eligible to run in the first place.
I don't want to accuse anyone of anything. You know, the last thing I'd want is a slander suit. But I do think there was some voter fraud.
On Wednesday noon, the VI Supreme Court breathed life back into Stiles' challenge of Yobb's eligibility. It reversed the Superior Court's decision in favor of Stiles, who claimed that she was treated as a second-class litigant. The case was remanded to the Superior Court, and Stiles said she was continuing the challenge. On Thursday afternoon, in a last-ditch effort, Stiles' lawyer Ed Barry appealed to the RNC's Credentials Committee, citing the unresolved issue of falsification of documents to commit voter fraud. But that was Thursday. On Friday, Stiles said she's withdrawn her appeal to the Credentials Committee and that she's functioning as an alternate delegate.
We're working on getting a lot of good candidates right now, a lot of healing with the party. We've got a couple of good social projects that I can't talk about right now. We want to try and just do a better job and make the community better.
Valerie Stiles' decision came as the RNC's Rules Committee, of which she is a part, killed an anti-Trump movement last night to free delegates pledged to Donald Trump. According to Stiles, it's a time for healing, not further division.
Most people in the Republican Party want the whole party to heal. I don't think there's going to be the trouble at the convention that a lot of people are thinking, at least not from the group that was trying to put the conscience clause in. They're going to try to heal the party. They're not going to be there disturbing the convention. That would be done by outsiders.
Reporting for NEWS2, I'm April Knight.
Meanwhile, overseas, Donald Trump has made it official. Indiana Governor Mike Pence will be his running mate on the Republican presidential ticket. The announcement comes just 3 days before the start of the Republican National Convention in Cleveland, and not the way the Trump campaign initially planned. Karen Kaifa has details.
After a wild 24 hours of speculation, confirmation, even a little bit of second guessing, Donald Trump has made it official. Indiana Governor Mike Pence will be his running mate. The announcement coming from Trump's Twitter account. This all played out a little bit differently than the campaign planned. Pence arrived here in New York Thursday evening ahead of a scheduled Friday morning news conference. But after the terror attack in Nice, France, Trump said he was postponing that event. Then, in an interview with Fox News, he said he hadn't made a final decision. But he faced a key deadline in Pence's home state of Indiana. State law says candidates can't run for federal and state office after July 15th, which meant Pence had to drop his re-election bid by noon. So now the ticket is set, and Trump appears to have taken a safe route. Pence previously served 12 years in Congress. He was an early ally of the Tea Party. He did not endorse Trump in the Indiana primary in May. He actually endorsed Ted Cruz, and there are some policy differences between the two men. But Pence is very much seen as someone who can help Trump reassure conservative Republicans about the ticket. As for response from the Democratic side, in a statement, Clinton campaign chair John Podesta said in choosing Pence, Trump has doubled down on some of his most disturbing beliefs, calling him the most extreme pick in a generation. Trump and Pence campaigned together in Indiana on Tuesday as part of the VP audition process. They will make their first joint appearance as the 2016 Republican presidential ticket at an event slated for Saturday morning right here in Midtown Manhattan. Outside Trump Tower in New York, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Meanwhile, here's more after a shocking terrorist attack in France that left 84 people dead, including 10 children and 52 more critically injured. An investigation is underway into what happened on a crowded street in a popular tourist destination. Isa Suarez is in France with more details.
France is once again the target of a deadly terror attack, this time in the southern coastal city of Nice.
France as a whole has to share this emotion, this solidarity with the victims, with the people close to them, their families.
French prosecutors are revealing new details about the horrific attack and the man responsible. Mohamed Laouf Bouhel drove an 18-ton truck 2 kilometers along the famous Promenade des Anglais, where hundreds of people gathered last night to celebrate Bastille Day.
The music was so loud that there was literally just screaming and running that we saw. So it was just mass confusion.
Bouhel engaged in a gun battle with 3 police officers. He was shot and killed, found in the passenger seat. In the truck, officials found a handgun, ammunition, and replica weapons. They also found his ID card. With only petty crimes in his background, he was previously unknown to intelligence services.
Au niveau national,
whether nationally or locally, he had never been the subject of any kind of file or indication of radicalization.
This is a third major terror attack on France over the past 18 months. The government announced it is extending a state of emergency by 3 months and will hold 3 days of mourning starting tomorrow. An all too familiar pattern in a country shaken by tragedy yet again. In Nice, France, I'm Isa Suarez.
Meanwhile, there was a moment of silence here in St. Thomas during a Bastille Day recognition in Frenchtown. Here's more from Henry Richardson of the Frenchtown Civic Organization.
It was just coincidental. We were at the same time having our annual Bastille Night celebration, which we have every single year. This year we were in the midst of honoring Senator Lorraine Berry and her family. We were paying some tribute to her family and honoring her for her work with French Heritage Week. When the news of the incident in France was announced, we paused, we had a minute of silence, and of course everybody was concerned because we too were celebrating our Bastille Day as we usually do every year, and we had a gathering of close to 200 or 300 people, and senators and well-wishers of Senator Berry joined in with us, and we stopped our program and joined with our comrades over in France. Before you can get over one incident, there's another incident in another country or a state, and everybody was very concerned, and there's sympathy for the families over in France. And we just continue and hope that something could crack this crazy situation with ISIS or whoever it is.
And be sure to tune in for more on the Bastille Day celebration that was held in Frenchtown on Thursday evening, as well as the Hall Bay events coming up this weekend. Meanwhile, keeping our eye on the economy, Nintendo is not the only company hoping to capitalize on the success of Pokemon Go. Retailers are also trying to get in on the action. Marketing experts say businesses could further profit from Pokemon if Nintendo opens up its platform and allows stores to become partners. Since Pokemon Go launched July 6th, the mobile game has raced past the likes of Facebook and Twitter on the app charts, already attracting a record-setting 21 million daily users in the U.S. alone. Here's a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers there, the Dow up 10, NASDAQ and S&P down. Coming up on NEWS2, kudos to Tim Duncan from Governor Kenneth Mapp, who says he can't wait to meet with the athlete face-to-face and personally shake his hand to tell him job well done. Plus, think you can take the heat? Prove it. Head out to the hottest competition ever, the Hot Sauce Competition. Just a reminder, as we are in the hurricane season, Innovative, the leading telecommunications provider in the territory, reminds its employees and customers that in the event of a severe storm or hurricane, it is important that you tune into local radio and television stations to stay abreast of the weather conditions and updates from the company. Here's more tips.
Good day. This is Sean O'Donnell, CEO of Innovative, here to remind you about important hurricane preparedness activities. In the event of a storm, customers should refrain from cutting down or moving any down lines because they may be active utility lines. For customers on our new network, during a power outage, the backup battery for your modem will provide up to 6 hours of talk time. We encourage you to use your telephone on an as-needed basis during power outages to conserve the battery life. We know that there are customers whose batteries no longer hold a charge, and we have been contacting these customers directly to replace these batteries free of charge. These customers can bring these batteries to the business office to swap out their dead battery, or if you are not able to or unwilling to remove the battery yourself, you can call 912 to schedule an appointment for Innovative to come to your house to swap it out for you. Either way is free of charge to our customers.
The Adjutant General for the Virgin Islands, Brigadier General Deborah Howell, will be hosting a retirement ceremony for Master Sergeant Delano Blyden after 39 years of military service. This event is coming up on Sunday, July 17th at 3 p.m. at the Sergeant First Class Leonard Francis Readiness Center, the Armory in Estate Nazareth, St. Thomas. Master Sergeant Delano Blyden was born on St. Thomas, graduated from Sheldon Molly High School, and enlisted 2 years later in the Virgin Islands National Guard back in October 1976. During his 39 years as a member of the VI National Guard, Master Sergeant Blyden served in several units and held leadership positions. His awards and decorations are numerous. Well, the Department of Sports, Parks, and Recreation, they're happy to announce that the baseball park is ready for the Little League Baseball Regional Caribbean Tournament. The David C. Canegata Ballpark has a new look. The roof over the bleachers, as you can see there, completely refurbished, among other things. The metal plaques, they were welded on the bleachers' metal floor and painted. 2 new metal rolling doors were installed, and all the structures painted. The baseball field was modified to meet the Little League Baseball requirements, rules, and regulations. Commissioner Cruz also expressed thanks to Governor Kenneth Mapp, the Public Finance Authority, and everyone for their financial assistance. Virgin Islands Governor Kenneth Mapp hailed Tim Duncan as probably the best power forward ever to play professional basketball, as he joined in congratulating the St. Croix native for a stellar 19-year career in the National Basketball Association. Duncan played the entire time with the San Antonio Spurs, during which the team won 5 championships and never missed the playoffs. Governor Mapp noted that Duncan's individual achievements puts him in a class with the greatest players in the history of the game, having won the NBA's Most Valuable Player award twice and 3 times named MVP in the finals. He announced his retirement on July 11th, as we reported. Governor Mapp says Tim will always stand out as a fine gentleman, which is a great source of pride for all of us. Meanwhile, Senate Vice President Jeanette Millen-Young said, "A grateful and proud Virgin Islands community will always hold Duncan in the highest regard. Generations will proudly speak his name, and our history will reflect his accomplishments." Senate President Neville James said he puts the island of St. Croix and the U.S. Virgin Islands on the NBA map. "Thanks to Timmy and his legendary career, we're going to always be there forever." The VI was celebrating Bastille Day as well. As we shared earlier, Frenchtown held an event last night. The week-long celebration of French heritage began July 8th to July 14th, culminating in Bastille Day, a day marking the event in 1789 when the people of France rose up against King Louis XVI, leading to the establishment of a new popular government. Bastille Day is celebrated as a national holiday in France. However, St. Thomas is home to many French residents who celebrate it as well. The French community has a long history in the territory, dating back to the 1600s, with descendants who immigrated from St. Bart's.
Usually part of French Heritage Week, we had a special tribute to Senator Lorraine Berry, honoring her for her past work and in preserving French Heritage Week. So we honored her family, her father, her husband, and her kids were there, and some of her other relatives, and some of her past colleagues that served with her were there and expressed their best wishes to the family and reminisced on what Berry contributed to French Heritage Week each year. We had a small group, Odile and also a group from St. Bart's joined in with a band. We had a small French band playing most of the day, some from around 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon till 10 last night. And we had, you know, an open bar and hors d'oeuvres and champagne. And
Meanwhile, organizers of the 28th annual Bastille Day Kingfish Tournament, they're inviting you to come out to see the fish in action on Sunday, July 17th from 10 a.m. The boats will be out as tournament anglers fish and then head back to the weigh station at Hull Bay. Weighing starts at noon. Now, for those who are not heading out to see the fishermen and all the fish, Hull Bay has plenty of other activities for the entire family. There'll be food, fun, vendors, and of course, music all day long by some of our local favorites, such as Cool Sessions. Hot sauce lovers of the world unite. The 4th annual 40 Strand on Fire hot sauce competition comes to the Comanche Palm Garden in downtown Christiansted on Saturday. Sponsored by the Crew de Croix, you can expect many different types of hot sauce, from lava fire to sweet desert hot sauces. There will also be musical entertainment, vendors, and fun things for the kids. Registration is $10 for competitors. It starts at 2 p.m. General admission is $5, and tasting for the People's Choice starts at 3 p.m. Be sure to tune in for those hot highlights on Monday. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.